Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing
Basketball.
Here's our hosts, Steve Collins, and Bill Flitter.
Coach, we got to come up with a song for Hump Day. Is there a Hump Day song? There's got to be.
I'm sure there is.
Wednesday.
Absolutely. It's one of those songs that probly stick in your head, right? If you heard it.
Jessica Black and the Friday. It's Friday. Anyway, I make my kids listen to that sometimes. We're very excited about what's happening on Wednesdays. We're adding an extra day for a time being. This is a beta version. So why don't you explain to everyone that's listening and they're going, why is Coach Bill and Coach Steve on Wednesdays? So why don't you explain what's happening? I'm supposed
to be listening to Smart List right now.
I know. I don't have enough time, Coach. I know.
Yeah. So sorry to interrupt your regular programming, but we are bringing you something awesome. If you're a parent and have athletes, we're launching a new podcast. As Steve mentioned, it is a pilot. So give us your feedback. You can email Coach Bill at coachingyouthhoops.com with any comments you have. Like it, thumbs up, thumbs down. Here's what I want to hear. But it's going to be for you parents so you can raise healthy athletes. Anything from nutrition to mental health, how to work with coaches, what to say to your kids.
Well, I like the one that I thought that I sent to you to listen to was the one on why kids give up sports.
Yeah, I mean, exactly why they give up sports.
I know.
How we can support them during this. Yeah,
go ahead. We're not very good at this. I tell my coaches that you don't want to be the last coach, right? You don't want a kid to ever quit. So it's like, how do you do that? I think I couldn't stop listening to that one. So
yeah, so tune in. There's we have right now we have queued up about 7 new podcasts on Wednesday. Again, give us your feedback. We want to hear. Do we continue? Do you like what you hear? We may break it out into a separate podcast, but it is for parents with athletes. They don't have to be basketball athletes. The content is pertains to all athletes. We even have one on getting recruited, which I know is a big subject, especially with older players. So how do you do that? So
all right, let's head off to the podcast.
Tune in every Wednesday.
Right. Let's head off. Bye.
All right, so you're trying to crush that next marathon, right? Well, you're not alone. Let's face it, figuring out the right nutrition strategy can feel like a marathon in itself, am I right?
Uh-huh. You're not wrong. It's a lot.
It really is. But don't worry, today's deep dive is all about athlete nutrition. We're cutting through the noise and getting right to the good stuff. We're diving deep into some cutting-edge research from Frontiers in Nutrition, a fantastic resource, by the way. So ready to decode the science of peak performance.
Absolutely. Let's turn those marathon dreams into a reality.
Love the energy. Okay, this research review kicks off with energy availability. Now, that might sound pretty basic, but I'm getting a feeling that it's more important than it sounds. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's way more than just, calories in versus calories out. It's about your body having enough energy left over after exercise to function properly.
Right. It's about more than just keeping the lights on. It's about thriving.
Exactly. And the research actually has a term for when you don't have enough energy available. It's called, get this, low energy availability, or LEA.
LEA.
Yeah. And trust me, you don't want to go there.
LEA. Okay, I'm getting some serious negative vibes from this LEA already.
And for good reason. We're talking like hormonal chaos, a weakened immune system. Heck, even your digestion can get messed up.
Yeah.
That's LEA for you. It can totally sabotage your performance before you even think about lacing up your shoes.
Wow, okay. Low energy availability is officially on my watch list. So how do we make sure we're fueling properly to avoid this whole LEA situation? Is it as easy as piling on the pasta? Carbs are good for runners, right?
Well, not quite. It's
Yeah.
not just about piling it on. It's about like getting the right types of fuel in the right amounts. This is where macronutrients come in. Carbs, protein, and fat. This deep dive really breaks down how each one impacts your performance. So why don't we start with carbs?
All right, carbs it is.
All right, so think of carbs as your body's high-octane fuel, especially for those long runs.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, carb loading before a marathon is practically a ritual at this point.
Exactly. And there's a good reason for that. Your body stores carbs in your muscles as glycogen, and that glycogen, well, that's what powers you through those miles.
Okay, so glycogen, that's our energy reserve for endurance. Got it.
Yeah, basically. But here's where it gets even more interesting. It's not just about how many carbs you eat, but also about when you eat them.
Oh, okay, so the timing of our carb intake matters. Tell me more about that.
So this research review really went deep, and what they found was fascinating. The optimal time to really load up on carbs is actually several hours before exercise. This gives your body enough time to maximize glycogen storage, to get those energy reserves fully stocked for when you need them most.
So that pre-race pasta dinner, it's more than just tradition, it's science.
Exactly. It's all about giving your body a head start. And even during those long runs, the type of carbs you're taking in can make a big difference.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The research found that, if you combine glucose and fructose during exercise, your body's actually able to use those carbs more efficiently. This means more sustained energy and potentially even a faster finish line for you.
Wow, okay, that is fascinating. I am already rethinking my fueling strategy.
Right. It's all about the details.
It really is. All right, so we've tackled carbs, but what about protein? I've always thought of protein as more of a muscle-building nutrient.
You're right. Protein is essential for building those muscles, but it's also crucial for muscle repair.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah. Every time you run, you're actually causing tiny micro tears in your muscles.
Ouch.
Yeah. And protein basically swoops in like a repair crew to rebuild and strengthen those muscles.
So that post-workout protein shake isn't just a gym bro myth.
Not at all. This deep dive actually found that consuming protein after your workout can help repair those tiny muscle tears and actually promote growth, which leads to stronger muscles in the long run.
Okay, good to know. So protein essential for both building and repairing those muscles. I'm sensing a theme here.
What's that?
It seems like it's not just about what we eat, but when we eat it too. Timing is everything.
Exactly. And that actually segues perfectly into our next topic because we still haven't talked about fat.
Oh, right, fat. I used to think fat was like the enemy of athletic performance.
It's a little more nuanced than that, right? I mean, fat is actually a very slow-burning fuel source. And this research review even delved into the world of high-fat diets for athletes.
Interesting. So are they saying ditch the carbs, fat is the way to go?
Not necessarily. It's not quite that simple. I mean, high-fat diets for athletes, they're definitely a hot topic right now, but the research is still kind of up in the air about whether it actually leads to, better performance.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that, fat definitely has a role to play.
Okay, so fat, not the enemy, but maybe not the hero either. It's all about finding that balance.
That's a great way to put it.
So we've covered the big three: carbs, protein, fat. That feels like a lot already, but I'm guessing there's more to unpack here, right?
Oh, absolutely. We've only just scratched the surface. Get ready, because next up, we're diving into those unsung heroes, micronutrients. Plus, we're going to tackle hydration. It's way more interesting than it sounds, I promise.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. All right, we'll be back in a bit to unpack even more insights from this awesome Frontiers in Nutrition research review. Stay tuned.
And we are back, still diving deep into this athlete nutrition thing, trying to fuel those marathon dreams. Before the break, we tackled macronutrients.
Right, those big players.
They really are.
But, we can't talk about energy without talking about what happens when you just don't have enough of it.
True.
Remember LEA, low energy availability.
Oh, yeah, LEA. LEA, the silent dream crusher. The marathon saboteur.
Exactly. And this research paper goes way beyond just defining it, It really dives deep into the serious consequences of LEA, especially for athletes. There's this whole other thing called RAD. RDS. Okay, now that sounds serious. What even is RDS?
So RDS stands for Relative Energy Deficiency in Sport. Basically, it's what happens when your body is, chronically low on energy.
Okay.
Think of it like this. Your body is this high-performance machine, right?
Right.
But if you're not giving it enough fuel, well, it can't run the way it's supposed to. And we're not just talking about, feeling a bit tired. We're talking about hormonal imbalances, messed up periods, even weak bones. It can even up your risk of injuries.
Okay, so RDS is no joke. Got it. So how do we even know if we might be dealing with RDS? What are the signs?
Well, it can be kind of sneaky, to be honest. But some of the common red flags to watch out for are things like, feeling constantly wiped out,
Yeah.
getting sick more often than usual. Maybe your periods are all over the place.
Yeah.
Or if you're finding it really hard to bounce back after those workouts.
Okay, so if you're feeling run down all the time, that's a sign to maybe to take a closer look at what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it can even manifest as feeling down or anxious.
Oh, wow.
This deep dive really drives home how important it is to, pay attention to those signals your body's sending you and address any potential energy imbalances sooner rather than later.
Gotcha. So listen to your body.
Yeah.
Don't just try to power through it. All right, so energy zappers, officially on our radar. But this research paper, it doesn't just stop at macros, does it? What about those unsung heroes, the micronutrients?
Micronutrients. They might be small, but trust me, they play a huge role in peak performance. Think of them like the behind-the-scenes crew, making sure your marathon engine runs smoothly.
Okay, I like that. So we're talking about vitamins and minerals.
Exactly.
I mean, I try to eat my fruits and veggies, but is that enough when we're talking about serious athletes, people pushing their bodies to the limit?
Well, eating a balanced diet is definitely a great foundation. But this research found that there are a few micronutrients that are super important for athletes. Like iron, for example, is absolutely crucial for carrying oxygen to your muscles. And, well, I probably don't have to tell you how important oxygen is for running, right?
Yeah, no oxygen, no running. That's pretty straightforward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Athletes, especially female athletes, they're actually more prone to iron deficiency. So if you're constantly feeling tired or you've hit a plateau in your training, it could be that low iron is the culprit.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. So low iron can really hold you back. What about other micronutrients? What about vitamin D? What's so special about that one?
So vitamin D is super important for strong bones, obviously.
Right.
But also a healthy immune system, even muscle function.
Huh. The more you know.
Right. The problem is that a lot of us, athletes included, we just don't get enough of it, especially during those winter months when we're training but not getting as much sunshine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you could be nailing your macros, getting all those carbs, protein, and fats in, but still be missing out on key micronutrients like iron and vitamin D.
Okay, that's a really good point. So even if you're doing everything else right, you could still be missing some key ingredients.
Exactly. And that's why, it's always a good idea to touch base with your doctor or a sports nutritionist.
Right.
They can actually test your levels and see where you're at. And then, they can recommend some personalized strategies. Maybe it's just tweaking your diet. Maybe it's adding in a supplement. Whatever it is, it's about fine-tuning your nutrition for you.
I love that. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. It's about figuring out what works for your body.
Exactly.
Okay, before we move on, can we talk about hydration for a minute?
Yes.
I'm guessing there's more to it than just, chugging water all day long.
You bet. Dehydration is a runner's worst enemy.
Yeah.
You know how earlier we talked about how losing just 2% of your body fluids can mess with your performance?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Right. So this research, it kind of takes it a step further and explains exactly how dehydration does that.
Okay, how?
So when you're dehydrated, your blood volume actually decreases, which means your poor heart has to work even harder to get that oxygen to your muscles.
Oh, wow.
And that's not all. You overheat faster, which can be actually dangerous, especially during those long runs in the heat.
So what's the best way to stay hydrated? Is it just drinking enough water, or is there more to it than that?
Well, water is essential. Obviously, it's the foundation.
Yeah.
But when you're sweating, you're not just losing water, right? You're also losing electrolytes. We're talking about sodium, potassium, all that good stuff.
Okay, right. Electrolytes.
This study really highlighted how important it is to replenish those electrolytes, especially when you're exercising for a long time. And that's where sports drinks often come in.
Okay, so those colorful drinks actually do have a purpose.
They can. They're specially designed to put back those lost electrolytes and give you some carbohydrates for energy. But, not all sports drinks are created equal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this research actually mentioned something called the Beverage Hydration Index.
The what?
The Beverage Hydration Index. And basically, it ranks how well different drinks actually hydrate you compared to plain old water.
Interesting. So some sports drinks hydrate you better than others?
Exactly. And it all comes down to things like, the amount of electrolytes they have, the sugar content, all of that can affect how well the drink actually hydrates you. So, it's worth doing a little research, figure out what lines up with your needs, how intense your training is, all of that. And, pro tip, if you're ever dealing with like extreme dehydration, maybe after a super tough race or something.
Yeah.
Those electrolyte drinks that are usually marketed for kids, like Pedialyte, they can actually be surprisingly helpful. It's all about getting those electrolytes back in balance.
That's a great tip. I would not have thought of that. This is blowing my mind. I had no idea there was so much science behind something as like seemingly simple as hydration.
Right. And we're not even done yet.
Oh no, there's more.
This deep dive also covers another topic that I know a lot of athletes are curious about: supplements.
Okay, supplements. Now we're getting to the good stuff.
Yeah.
I am ready to hear what the research has to say.
Stop by Sherwin-Williams and get 30% off select paints and stains May 2nd through the 12th. It's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Refresh your home inside and out with colors that make every space feel brand new. From cozy interiors to stunning exteriors, we've got the perfect shade for your next project. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
All right, we are back, and we're diving headfirst into the world of supplements. I have to say, this is the part I've been waiting for. Expert speaker, what does this research review have to say about supplements and boosting athletic performance?
Well, get ready to separate those supplement facts from the fiction. It seems like every day there's a new supplement that promises to be the next big thing.
It really does.
But this deep dive, it cuts right through the hype and focuses on, what does the science actually say?
I like it. Evidence over everything.
Exactly. We're going to be exploring the actual benefits, the drawbacks, maybe even a few surprises along the way.
Sounds good to me. So let's jump right in, shall we? What about creatine? I've heard it can be really helpful for building strength, for power, but I'm not sure if it's legit or if it's just like gym lore at this point.
Oh, creatine is definitely one of the most well-studied supplements out there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And the research actually backs it up. It supports its potential to actually enhance performance, especially for high-intensity activities like weightlifting or sprinting.
So there is some real science behind it. How does it even work? What does it do?
So basically, it all comes down to how your muscles access energy. So creatine helps your body increase its stores of something called phosphocreatine.
Okay.
And that acts as a kind of quick burst energy reserve specifically for your muscles. So say you're trying to power through a tough set of reps at the gym or shave a few seconds off your sprint time, that creatine can give you that extra push you need, by tapping into those phosphocreatine reserves.
Interesting. So it's like a turbo boost for your muscles?
Basically. Exactly.
Okay. So if someone's listening and they're like, yeah, I want to improve my strength, I want to get faster, creatine could be a good option.
It's worth looking into, but, like with any supplement, it's always best to chat with your doctor or a sports nutritionist first. They can look at your specific situation, your training, maybe any medications you're on, and see if creatine is a good fit for you.
That's a really good point. I feel like sometimes with supplements especially, it's easy to get caught up in, the hype and all the marketing and forget that it's not one size fits all.
It's so true.
All right, so we've talked about creatine. What about caffeine? I have to ask about caffeine. I mean, I rely on my morning coffee, but does it actually do anything for athletic performance, or is it just like a mental boost?
Oh, it's definitely more than just a mental boost. The research actually found that caffeine can be super helpful for endurance athletes, especially during those long runs when you really need that extra push.
Okay, good to know. I mean, I know it helps me get out the door for a run in the morning, but good to know it'll actually do something for me during the run too. But I also feel like I've heard that caffeine can mess with your sleep, and sleep is obviously super important for recovery. Is that something to worry about?
Yeah, it's definitely something to be mindful of.
Okay.
This deep dive, they really emphasize the importance of timing when it comes to caffeine and athletic performance.
Right.
So while, it can give you that extra edge before and during a workout, if you're consuming it too close to bedtime, it can definitely interfere with your sleep. And that, in turn, can backfire and actually hurt your recovery and your performance in the long run.
So as with most things in life, moderation, right? Listen to your body.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've done creatine, We've done caffeine. What about protein powders?
Mm-hmm.
And amino acid supplements. Those seem to be super popular, especially in the athletic world.
They're everywhere.
They really are.
And this research, it actually delves into those as well. Let's start with protein powders. So you already know how important protein is for muscle repair and growth.
Right.
But sometimes, especially for athletes who are training really hard, it can be tough to get all the protein you need from just food alone. That's where those handy protein powders come in.
Okay, so it's like a convenient way to supplement, to add in a little extra protein if you're not getting enough from your diet.
Exactly. It's like a protein boost. And this research, it actually highlights how protein powders, especially whey protein, can be super beneficial after a workout.
Yeah.
They kind of kickstart that muscle recovery process and encourage growth.
Okay, so there's definitely a time and a place for those protein powders.
For sure.
What about amino acid supplements? I feel like I've been hearing a lot about BCAAs.
BCAAs, yeah. Yeah, those are a popular ones.
They are.
So BCAAs, or branched-chain amino acids, they're often marketed as a way to, reduce muscle soreness and improve recovery.
Right, I've heard that.
But here's the thing. The research on BCAAs, it's a little iffy. I mean, some studies have shown some benefits, but other studies are like, not so much.
So the jury's still out on those.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's a good reminder. In general, when it comes to supplements, don't believe everything you hear.
Right.
It's so easy to, get caught up in the hype, but it's always a good idea to look at the research yourself, and talk to a qualified healthcare professional or a registered dietitian. They can help you figure out if a supplement is right for you or if it's just a bunch of marketing hype.
That's such good advice and a perfect note to wrap up this section on supplements, right?
Yeah.
It's all about that individual approach. There's no magic bullet. This entire deep dive has been so eye-opening. It really feels like we've covered everything. Macronutrients, micronutrients, hydration, supplements. Is there anything else we need to know about fueling for that peak performance?
We've covered a lot of ground, that's for sure. But there's one more crucial element we need to talk about: nutrient timing.
Oh, yes. We briefly touched on that earlier, but I'm ready to dive deeper. Tell me everything about nutrient timing.
Okay, so nutrient timing, it's not just about what you eat, but when you eat it, especially in relation to, when you're working out.
Okay, it's like strategic fueling.
Exactly.
Precisely.
Give me the what, when, why of nutrient timing.
Okay, so basically, think about it like this. You're giving your body exactly what it needs at the perfect moment to maximize your energy levels, support your muscle recovery, and really optimize those training adaptations.
It's like fine-tuning your nutrition to get the absolute most out of your workouts.
Yes. And this research really hammered home the importance of these 3 key phases: pre-exercise, during exercise, and post-exercise. Each one of these phases, it actually comes with its own set of nutrient recommendations to really support your body's needs at that specific time.
Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, let's break it down, shall we? Let's start with pre-exercise nutrition. What's the name of the game before a workout? So before a workout, your main goals are to, top up those energy stores, make sure they're full, and also prepare your muscles for the work that's about to happen.
Okay.
So usually this involves having a meal or a snack that has a good balance of carbohydrates and protein, and you want to have this a couple of hours before you exercise.
So it's like fueling up your car before a road trip.
Perfect analogy. I love it. And then, depending on how intense your workout's going to be, how long it's going to be, you might also want to have a little snack even closer to your workout.
Okay, so like a little pre-workout energy boost.
Yeah, exactly. And for that, you want those easily digestible carbs that we were talking about earlier, like maybe a banana or some energy chews. And that just gives you that readily available energy to power through your workout.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we've fueled up, we're ready to go. What about during the workout? Should we be snacking while we're, in the middle of a run or hitting the weights?
Okay, so for those shorter workouts, you probably don't need anything beyond water, especially if you've fueled up properly beforehand.
Right.
But for those long hauls, those endurance, we're talking about your marathon training runs, those long bike rides, it's super important to replenish those carbohydrates and electrolytes throughout your workout.
Okay, that's where those sports drinks and gels come in handy.
Exactly. They're specifically designed to give you those carbohydrates and electrolytes that your body's craving when you're pushing it that hard for that long.
Got it. It's all about replacing what you're losing through sweat and exertion.
Exactly.
All right, we've made it to the finish line. What about post-workout? What should we be prioritizing in those precious moments after a workout?
So after your workout, it's all about recovery and replenishing what you've just used.
Okay.
So you want to give your body the nutrients it needs to repair those tiny muscle tears we talked about, refill those glycogen stores, and just really help those muscles grow stronger.
So it's all about like giving your muscles the building blocks they need to recover and bounce back stronger.
Precisely. And research shows that the magic window is within 2 hours after your workout. That's when you want to consume that protein and carbohydrate combo. And that helps to maximize something called muscle protein synthesis, which is basically the process of your body actually building and repairing that muscle tissue.
It's like feeding those muscles exactly what they need to rebuild and repair.
Exactly.
What are some good post-workout options that can help with that?
Honestly, a classic protein shake with some fruit is always a winner.
Right.
It's easy, it's convenient, and it gives your muscles that quick hit of protein and carbs that they're craving after a tough workout.
Makes sense.
Or, if you're feeling like a meal, go for it. Just make sure you're prioritizing lean protein, some complex carbs, and some healthy fats in that post-workout meal.
Perfect. This has been amazing. Seriously, this whole deep dive has been so informative. I feel like I've learned so much, and I'm definitely going to be rethinking my whole approach to fueling my runs.
That's awesome. That's what we like to hear.
But before we wrap things up, I think it's important to point out that, everyone's different.
So true.
What works for one athlete might not work for another, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this deep dive was incredible. It gave us so much valuable information, but it's really just a starting point. Everyone's body is different. Everyone has their own unique needs. Factors like how much you're training, how intense your workouts are, what your goals are, even your body composition. All of that can play a role in what your body needs to perform at its best.
So this is a fantastic starting point, but it's really important to listen to your own body, and if you can, consult with a qualified professional to really get that personalized guidance.
100%. Working one-on-one with a sports nutritionist or a registered dietitian can be a game changer. They can really help you fine-tune that nutrition plan and make sure you're getting exactly what you need to reach your goals.
I love that. All right, folks, there you have it. That was an incredible deep dive into the amazing world of athlete nutrition. We covered it all from macronutrients to micronutrients, hydration, supplements, even that super important nutrient timing. But the biggest takeaway here, what works for one athlete might not work for another.
So true.
It's all about finding what works best for you, for your body, for your training goals. So keep experimenting, keep learning, and keep pushing those limits.
Yes, and never underestimate the power of proper nutrition. It can truly make or break your performance.
Couldn't agree more. Until next time, stay curious and keep on diving deep, no matter what path they choose. So it's not about keeping every kid in competitive sports forever. So then what does a positive youth sports experience actually look like? What happens when someone does move on? Like they're done with the sport or maybe they just need a break. How do we handle those transitions?
That's where I think we need to get better at this whole idea of transition, instead of seeing these young athletes as like failures because they're not playing anymore. How do we as a society, how do we support them, help them find new ways to grow?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the research even mentions this, how we need to broaden our definition of what success even means. It's not always about trophies and scholarships.
Right. Like there are so many ways to live a good life, a successful life. And yeah, maybe organized sports aren't part of the picture for everyone, at least not in the long term.
Yeah, totally. And this is where all those soft skills that sports help develop, they can really come in handy. You know what I mean? Teamwork, communication, leadership, problem solving, resilience, these things matter. And not just on a field or a court.
Totally. It's like, remember those participation trophies everyone makes fun of? Maybe we were onto something, but instead of just saying, hey, good effort, it's about acknowledging those real skills kids are building through sports. And those skills, those are valuable no matter what you end up doing in life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we can help young people see those experiences as valuable, even if they don't go pro, that's huge. It's about helping them connect the dots, how what they learned in sports, it actually applies to the real world, no matter what path they choose.
Yeah. So how do we do that? How do we build those bridges between like the world of organized sports and everything else? Those other ways kids can grow and learn and find their thing.
Well, we could start by creating more of those intentional pathways, Give them opportunities to explore different interests. Workshops, mentorship programs, community service, internships, anything that lets them apply those skills, those sports skills, in a different setting.
show them that, yeah, what they learned in sports, it matters. It can help them succeed in so many ways,
100%. And it's on us, the adults, to provide that guidance, that support as they're figuring things out, help them identify their strengths, set new goals, and build a life that they're stoked about, a life that makes sense for them.
This has been, I'm telling you, such an eye-opening conversation. We really dug into the reasons why some young athletes leave organized sports, busted some myths about dropout, and talked about how crucial it is to create a more supportive environment for all young people, whether they're super athletes or not.
At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, isn't it? Recognizing that every kid is different, their journey is their own, and our job is to make sure they have what they need to thrive, whatever that looks like for them.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this. How can we, parents, coaches, teachers, everyone really, how can we challenge those assumptions we have about success? How do we create a culture where different talents, different passions, different paths, how do we celebrate all of that? Think about it. And until next time, thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
What's standing between you and your first sale on Shopify? Time, expertise, resources? What if you could multiply all three? Product descriptions? Done. Store insights? Delivered. 2 a.m. customer questions? Handled instantly. Entrepreneurs on Shopify are reaching their first sale faster with AI that works with you. Go to shopify.com/first sale to see how entrepreneurs use AI to grow their businesses faster. That's shopify.com/first sale.